Okay, we're going to start setting up our levels here. The very first thing that we are going to notice is that it's a hillside going down. If I look at my east elevation, I can see that I start way up here, and that's about 25 feet in elevation, and I go all the way down to 0. I need to come back to my site plan. Looking under floor plans here, it says site, level 1, level 2, and site. If I'm looking at my site plan, now I can see the whole plan. And you see these dashed lines in here when I hover over it, it turns blue? That is the lot that you guys have been given. So this over here is your neighbor's yard, and this over here is your neighbor's yard. So you have to put your house somewhere inside of this blue dashed line. The other thing is you have to be 100 feet from water. If I come up here and grab, this is the measure between two reference tools. It's not a permanent dimension. But if I come up here to the 0 feet in elevation, and you can see that this lot is huge, so 100 feet is only this far. I need to be beyond that. I can't be any closer than 100 feet to the water's edge. Otherwise, we're going to have trouble with water getting in the basement. Most lake lots have a 100-foot setback. Some have a 75-foot setback. After I've figured out kind of where I want my plan to go, my very next step is to create a building pad. To create a building pad, I have to come up here to this tab called Massing and Site. We've never used this before, so this is new for everybody. On the Massing and Site, I'm going to see something that says Building Pad. And what the Building Pad tool does is it allows me to have a spot that's perfectly level. So my house isn't slanted with the hillside. This will cut into the hillside and make a spot that I can start building my house on. It's cutting the foundation for it. Before I actually click and draw on my building pad, well, we'll go with it right now. On here, my building pad, pad 1 is the type. It's going to make a concrete pad. And then I have to choose what I want it to look like. I want my building pad to be the exact same footprint as the foundation of my house. So if I want my foundation of my house to be kind of an L-shaped, I have to draw my building pad to look like an L-shaped drawing. There's my building pad, and when I get done with it, I just hit OK. And now if I look at my 3D view, I see that it's cut out a square spot for me in the hillside. Now there's a couple things we got to think about. One is, as you think about your house, is a little bit of your foundation visible from the outside? Have you ever seen, there's usually just a little bit of foundation visible. We talked about doing 9-foot tall walls on all the floors of our houses. When we do a 9-foot tall wall, that leaves 8 feet for the room and 1 foot for the ceiling trusses, or the roof, the ceiling trusses or the floor trusses for the floor above us. So if I want basement walls that are 9 feet tall, I want my building pad to be 9 feet underground. To figure out 9 feet underground, I need to come over here to my east elevation, and hopefully I can see my building pad. It doesn't look like I can see it there. I'm going to click on it, and we can see right now it's at level 1. The height offset is 0. I want my height offset to be 9 feet under the closest contour line. So if I look at 8, 9, 10, this means it's in elevation. So the further up I go, the taller the hillside is getting. So I'm just going to come up here, click the height offset at negative 8 feet, or negative 9 feet, I'm sorry, to be 9 feet underground. Hit apply, and now when I look at it, now that is 9 feet underground. When I want to start drawing my walls then, so does that make sense so far? It's 9 feet underground. Now when I want to start drawing my walls, I come back to architecture, wall. What kind of walls do you think I want to use for my basement? I want to use my foundation walls, 12-inch concrete. We're drawing the foundation, we wanted to use foundation walls. I come up here, it should automatically click to my walls. Looks like I was off a little bit there. And there I have my foundation walls. So if I look at them now, they're not the right height. I've got to set that. The base offset is -12. We don't want that. What we want to do is set our levels to be at the right height now. So I'm going to find my pad. Okay, that's That's 9 feet below level 1. So I'm going to come here, look at east elevation, level 1, 9 feet below. I can see my foundation walls there. And what I'm going to do is just create a new level that is at the same level that is. So I right click on level 1, hit create similar. I'll click right on the foundation wall, bring it over, and I'm going to rename it basement. Rename all my corresponding views. So now my basement says it's 12 feet below level 1, and that seems like it's a little bit crazy. So what we are going to do is change this to be negative 9 feet. If level 1 is at 0, we want this to be 9 feet below it. And we can double check this here. So instead of making my building pad 9 feet below the surface, instead what I'm going to do is give it a height offset of 0. So it's back to the top there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move level 1. If you look here again, level 1 needs to be 9 feet below this contour line, the tallest contour line on your house, which is 8 feet for me. So I need to set level 1 at negative 9 feet. So I'll go back to my east elevation, click on level 1, make that at negative 9. And there's my level 1. And I'm just going to go ahead and erase this basement thing. We're going to take my foundation wall. We're going to connect. We're going to have a 0 base offset. We're going to connect it from level 1 to level 2. Hit apply. And I have to do that with all of the walls. I should have done this in the first place. Level 1 to level 2.
You can click on multiple walls by pressing the control button. Just like
We'll get those here. Base offset of 0. Up to level 2. And the last wall here. And then we'll finally have this thing exactly the way that we want it. Now when I look at my 3D view, I will see that my walls are sticking out just a little bit. And that's okay. So that's my foundation. And I'm going to go right ahead and draw on my level 2 walls, which will actually be my first floor. So you can take here and rename this. We'll rename level 1 basement. We'll rename level 2 first floor. Now, when I go back to my east elevation, I see my first floor. Do you think I'm going to need to create another level? So I've got basement to first floor. What does my next level need to say? Second floor or roof? So I'm going to create similar, make my roof. It says level 4, but I'm going to change it to roof. And what should the height of this level be? 19. And why do we get 19 feet? It's a 9 above the first level. Very good. First floor is at 10. Basement then. Because we moved all those walls, if I look here again, I want my basement to be 9 feet below my first floor. My first floor moved now at 10 feet. So what does my basement need to be at? What's 10 feet minus 9? Now I have a 9-foot wall between my basement and my first floor, 9-foot wall from my first floor to my roof. So when I want to start drawing my first floor walls, they just go right on top of the basement walls. I come back up here, I draw the right walls, pick the walls I want to use. We could do brick if we wanted to. We'll do a brick house. Draw them right on top. look at my 3D view now, and these walls should go from my, what should my base constraint be? Base constraint's first floor, top constraint should be roof. I should have done that beforehand for whatever reason. I've been forgetful today. And now I have my basement walls and my first floor walls, and I think you guys could probably take it from there. Super important to get these levels set right. If the levels aren't set right, you are going to be in a world of hurt when you try doing this.